Now we are going to discuss about the plant tissues. Which one? Plant tissues. Plant tissues these are very important. We want to know about the plant body. So if you want to know about the plant body, you must read about the tissues, plant tissues. Okay. So before going to discuss about what is meant by tissue, we are going to, very good. Tissue means group of cells which are having same structure and same function. Okay. So tissue means a group of cells which are having similar structure, similar function. Ante it must show the same function as well as it can show the same structure. These type of group of cells are known as a tissue. It is considered as a tissue. Okay. So every organism, every multicellular organism can possess or can have a tissues, different kinds of tissues in their body. Likewise, plants also have their significant tissues in their body. Why? Because tissues can form organs. Organs can form organ system. Organ system can form organism. Okay. So we already discussed about the cells. So the basic unit of the cells, body. So the basic unit of the body or organism is known as a cell. Okay. So our functional unit, structural and functional unit of our body or any organism's body is known as a cell. These type of cells can have a group or which are having same structure and same function that can form a tissue. A group of tissues can form a organ. Which one? Organ. A group of organs can called as a organ system. Organ system. A group of organ systems can form a organism. Okay. So this is most important one. If you want to read about organism, you must learn or you must read from the cell to up to organism level. Okay. Now we are going to discuss. We are discussing about tissue, mainly in plant body. Okay. So based on that, how many types of tissues are present in the plant body? That's most important one. Okay. So then we are going to discuss about the types of plant body or plant tissues. Types of plant tissues. Types. Okay. So what type of tissues are there in the plant body? One type of tissue can promote the growth and development of the body. Okay. In lengthwise or widthwise, the plant body can show the growth. Okay. So that tissue, that growth promoting tissue is known as a meristematic tissue. Meristematic tissue. And another one, it can provide covering and it can protect the plant body from the outer environment, or it can covers the outer body of the plant body or outer body of plant. Okay. That is known as a dermal tissue. Dermal tissue. And third one is it can have a fundamental things like it can have smooth or parenchymatic tissue. And so the tissue which can help to the bulk of the plant body and it can help for the it can give a mechanical support to the plant body. Mechanical support to the plant body. That tissue is known as a ground tissue. Ground tissue. So this ground tissue helps to get the bulky nature and as well as the protection and also mechanical support to the plant body. That type of tissue is known as a ground tissue. And fourth one, it is a conducting tissue. Another tissue which can help for the transportation of materials like a water and food material. Water and food material, that is known as a vascular tissue. We want to discuss about these four kinds of tissues of plant body. Are you understand?
Yes, sir.
One is a meristematic tissue and dermal tissue, ground tissue and vascular tissue. Okay. So in meristematic tissue, we can observe mainly three kinds of based on the location and the function of based on the type of function. The meristematic tissue are divided into apical meristem, and second one is a lateral meristem, third one is a intercalary meristem, Now then we will discuss about meristematic tissue, the structure of the cells and the arrangement of the cells in this tissue and the function of the tissue and types and how it is helpful to the plant body. We will discuss. Okay. So right. So if you observe meristematic tissue, if you see, if you observe the shoot tip as well as the root tip, these two, root tip and shoot tip, are that regions, these portions of plant can show the growth, mainly growth, and also it have a specialized tissue, that is a meristematic tissue. Very, very important. Meristematic tissue. What I said, root tips and shoot tips can have a specialized tissue which can promote the growth. Okay. So if you observe it, the apical part of the shoot or stem can, in between the tip of the stem, we can observe a specialized cells present in it, in the middle of the other tissues. Okay. So this tissue is known as a meristematic tissue. This is also, it is present in apical region and tip of the shoot. That's why it is known as a apical meristem. Okay. We will discuss about the situation and how the structure of the cells present in the tissue. Okay. So first we will learn it. So then in this this apical meristem can promote the lengthwise growth. It means the plant body can grow in lengthwise. Okay. So and also it is promote lengthwise growth. Okay. Next one, in lateral, if you observe in the lateral position, we can also observe these kind of cells or tissue. It is arranged in lateral manner. That's why it is called as a lateral meristem. It means it can grow. It can we can observe a growth in the promotes the growth, development of the growth. Okay. So in widthwise development or widthwise growth we can observe with the help of lateral meristem. Very important. Okay. So first of all, every plant can grow in lengthwise, then it also for the support or mechanical support. Okay, so it must grow in widthwise also. Widthwise also, that's why the widthwise growth or the growth of the growth or growth of the growth in so growth in growth okay, so in widthwise it can develop or it will grow, so that is helpful of help of the lateral meristem or dividing of the lateral meristem. Okay, these meristematic cells can have the rapidly dividing cells. The meristematic tissue has a rapidly growing cells or rapidly dividing cells in it. Okay, next one we can observe in intercalary or internodes. We can observe these tissue is in our meristematic tissue is known as a intercalary meristem. Calary meristem, which can promote or it can which help for it is helpful for development of flowers, leaves, branches. Okay, so this intercalary meristem can promote the growth of branches, flowers, leaves, likewise. Okay, are you understand?
Yes, sir.
So this is about, if you observe the structure of the tissue or how the cells are arranged in the meristematic tissue, I already told you that meristematic tissue has a cells, that cells are having the nature of dividing. The cells are under process of cell division, that's why it is multiplying the in number and it can give a growth. Okay, so if you observe it, the cells are having very less intercellular space. It means the cells are compactly arranged, and then if you observe other cells with other cells, because if you compare with other cells, the cell wall of these cells are very thin. Cell wall is very thin. If you see the cell wall, a thin cell wall we can observe here. Okay, intercellular space are very low, or it means compactly arranged cells we can observe, and also it can show the abundant cytoplasm. Abundant cytoplasm, the cells can have a rich cytoplasm. Cytoplasm, and also it has a prominent or definite nucleus in it. Okay, so we can observe a prompt nucleus also. Okay, so overall ga chuste, so all these cells are having that capability or ability of dividingness or cell division. We can observe rapid cell division in these cells. Okay, so it is most important meristematic tissue in the plant body, which can helpful for the growth and development. Are you understand? Next we can discuss about the dermal tissue. Dermal tissue, which can cover the plant body for the protection and the sake of protection and as well. Okay, so right. So the intercalary meristem also forms a cambium. Okay, we will learn about this about cambium. You will learn more about cambium in higher classes. Okay, so cambium formed by due to the intercalary meristem. Okay, next we will discuss about dermal tissue. Next tissue is a second one, dermal tissue. Dermal tissue. This dermal tissue is covers the body of the plant. Okay, the leaves which is covering by the dermal tissue. One is leaves covered by the dermal tissue, and stem also covered by the dermal tissue. Root also covered by the dermal tissue. Okay, main function of the dermal tissue is a covering and it means if it covers, it can give a protection. It can give a protection. Okay, so before going to discuss about the dermal tissue, now look at the structure of the stem. If you got a section of the stem, how it look like, how many types of tissues we can observe. So that's why anatomy of stem section, if you observe the stem section, we can observe all the tissues in it, all the tissues in it. So if you observe it, if you observe the stem section, and if you cut that section with thin sections, if you cut it, if you cut the stem, if you got the thin sections, you can observe under microscope various tissues you can observe in the microscope. Okay, so the outermost layer is known as a dermal tissue, is known as a dermal tissue. This is outermost layer, that's why it is called as a epidermis, epidermis or epidermal tissue. Okay, so in the growth, in the tips or in the edges of the dermal tissue, you can observe a meristematic tissue in the stem. We can observe meristematic tissue, meristematic tissue, and below the dermis or epidermis we can observe cortex cells, and then we can observe a prompt, very abundant or rich vascular tissue we can observe in the anatomy of the stem. Anatomy of the stem. In anatomy of the stem, you can observe this is it. So this is a vascular tissue we already discussed, which is helpful for the conduction of water and food materials. Okay, so in the middle of the stem we can observe a specialized region, specialized portion is a pith, you can say it. Okay, and also it is a ground tissue, ground tissue. This is the anatomy of the stem. Anatomy of the stem, we can observe these type of regions there. Okay, so in vascular, if you observe the vascular tissue, we can you can observe a distinguished or differentiated region which is known as a phloem. Below the phloem we can observe a xylem also. Okay, we will discuss what is the phloem and what is xylem and what is vascular tissue in later class. Later class we can observe it. So now we are discussing about the dermal tissue. Okay, so dermal tissue is the outermost. Based on the function and location it is divided. Based on the function and location it is anotherly it is divided. There is a types also there. Okay, so it is a thin and single cell, single layers tissue. Okay, so which can give the covering and protection to the plant body. Okay, so if you observe the dermal tissues based on the function and location, the dermal tissue is divided into three types. One is a epidermis. Second one is a mesodermis. Third one endodermis. So it means epidermis means outermost layer, mesodermis means middle layers. Okay, endodermis means inner layers. Okay, you can learn more about in higher classes about these things. Okay, so now what is the function of the, if you observe, the leaves also having dermal tissue. It means the dorsally ventral portions of the leaf can possess dermis. Okay, so it is a epidermis. Okay, so if you observe, leaf paibagana, upper portion of the leaf and lower portion of the leaf covered with dermis or epidermis. If you observe the lower part of the dermis or epidermis of leaf, you can observe a specialized pores in it. The specialized lower epidermis can possess a pores in it. Pores. This pores is known as a the lower epidermis possess pores in it. That pores is known as a stomata. Which one? Stomata. We called it as a stomata. This pore is known as a stomata. And this stomata has a two cells that is known as a God cells. God cells, which are having in kidney shape or bean shaped structures. Bean shaped structures. So it also have a accessory cells. Accessory cells around the God cells. Okay, these structures are helpful for the gaseous exchange as well as transpiration. Gaseous exchange and transpiration. We know very well about transpiration also. Next, if you observe the upper portion, upper part or upper epidermis, mostly desert plants. Desert plants, that upper epidermis covers with wax coating, that is known as a cuticle, which is known as a cuticle. Okay, so we can observe in desert plants. Okay, so we can observe a waxy coating on the surface of our upper portion and lower portion also. We can observe it for prevent the transpiration. Okay, so to prevent the transpiration, the upper epidermis of the leaf can have a cuticle or wax coating. Are you understand up to here? Yes, so next one, if you observe stem, if the we already told that dermis is made up of single layerous tissue. It is made up of single layer. Okay, if it is made of many layers, the stem can form a bark. It can form a bark. The thick bark it can leave from the stem of the plant, or usually you can observe in big trees. Okay, the bark is freely removable from the stem. Okay, so that is from the stem of the plant. So if you observe the roots, roots also possess dermis, epidermis. Okay, these epidermis can form the root hairs. Root hairs. This most important one. Root hairs can have the capacity or ability to collect water from the soil. Okay, so due to the presence of dermis in it. If you observe the functions of dermis for absorption of root, absorption of water from the, if it is a present in the root, it can absorb the water. If it is present in the leaf, it can helpful for gaseous exchange and transpiration and also protection. Okay, so moreover, if you observe, so the epidermis present in different regions, it can stop the invasion of microorganisms or invasion of pathogens into the plant body. Okay, when you got injury in plant, when the plant got injury in it, so that is very easy to penetrate or easy to invade into the pathogens into the plant body. Okay, so if there is a presence of dermis, so it can hold or it can prevent the invasion of pathogens and microorganisms into the plant body. It means it can protect the plant body from pathogens. Are you understand up to here? So this is about dermal tissue. Are you understand?
Yes, sir.
So one is meristematic tissue and another one is a dermal tissue, and later we will discuss about the ground tissue and vascular tissue. Okay.